A lot of good ones here. That's the problem when the rain hits. Tomatoes kind of split sometimes. They get a little too much water. Hey MGTOWs, this is Vention. Having a good day. This is my Sunday. Munching on those homegrown tomatoes. Okay, what I wanted to cover in this video is an organization called the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and it's really cool. And what's happening is there's a guy there. I think his name's Bob, but he runs the website and all that. And he basically he did it, even though he's an introvert, just like me. He basically did it to help people adjust to the mobile lifestyle. And he was talking about how most people who choose to live the mobile lifestyle, they live it because they have to, right? They get kicked out of their apartment and foreclosed on, or their wives kick them out, of which we are very very familiar with that part. But basically and it's all, and he was like at a, comfortably in his van, and he saw some lady and her kids in a nearby spot who were like clearly having no idea how to do anything, and clearly completely overwhelmed by the whole situation. And the lady was in there and her breath was steaming because the inside of the car was freezing cold, and apparently they were just waiting for the morning, and that's why he created that website. I can't remember what it's called. It's like oh well, I'll look it up later. But anyway, and it's all about tips and tricks and procedures and things they can do to make a van or even a car livable, as far as like being homeless or home free, and be comfortable living that way, and which is like very awesome in my opinion. And he's created this big huge community, and they all like help each other out, and they meet in various places, including down in Arizona, with this big huge event called the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. And those people, they have like, it's kind of like a convention, and they have like panels and classes about how to do things, build cheap solar systems, and it's a really cool thing. But the guy is seriously gynocentric. He basically allowed a woman to use his platform to advertise the woman's Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and it's only for women, and only women can go, and it's for women, right? So basically they want their own space, right? And I can respect that, but they also want full access to our spaces. And we have seen that so many times before. Basically, they want their own thing, and then they also want whatever it is that we create, if it's cool, right? I mean, if it's awesome and cool, then they will elbow their way in, because we absolutely cannot have something that's really cool that's for men only. Absolutely, that will be not tolerated. So I basically chimed in a little bit, you know, dropping a few red pills. I was not obnoxious about it or anything, and boom, I got banned. How pathetic, right? So basically, I just thought I would chime in and register my disagreement with that, and then I'll put the tags into my video, Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and maybe it'll show up on searches, and I can register my disagreement with the women's only Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. Now they can do what they want, sure, but there will be consequences for those actions if they choose, which they have, to create their own, you know, widen the rift between men and women. If they want to do that, then they can complain if they want about that rift when they interact with men in like the mobile lifestyle. But I will have no sympathy for them, and I kind of hope nobody else does either. So basically, they're going to be doing their own thing, which is all well and good. But they have created, and they have made worse the rift that's between men and women. And the result is MGTOW seems to be growing in the mobile lifestyle, and I find that quite awesome. There's just recently there was a big bunch of videos about some guy who was like fairly prominent in the mobile lifestyle, and he dumped this rather pudgy looking 3 or 4 and he is fairly higher up there. He's like in mid-range 5 or 6, and plus he has a very nice motor home and all that, and then of course she's like moaning that he dumped her and stuff like that, and everybody was sympathizing with her in the comments, and it was this whole big thing. So I feel no sympathy in that situation. And then she was saying, "Oh, and he broke up with me via text." That is the go-to method for the Tinder queens to break up with a guy, and that's assuming she has enough courtesy to even notify him that she's breaking up with him, instead of just ghosting him and you know, blocking his address and stuff like that. Without any notification, which happens a lot. Oops. So much for my low carb lifestyle. Anyway, okay, so, and my response was, you know, if when I'm in the mobile lifestyle, I will have a MGTOW sticker on my bumper, and look at the symbol. You know, it's the one I use for my channel thumbnail. And when that sticker is in evidence, that is a male space. And if any help is to be given or received, it's generally going to happen in an area like that. And I was talking also about how I am less likely to help a woman, because everybody, I mean, like if a woman's broke down or something, the whole freaking world falls all over themselves to help her, right? Whereas a guy in that situation, does he get any help? Probably not. So I am vastly more likely to help a guy. And you know, as far as the RTR, Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, mobile lifestyle, that information is vastly more needed by guys because we are like 90% of the homeless. and and women are just like a small percentage. They can generally land on their back, whereas guys, they don't have that option. So basically, and people are less likely to kick women out into the snow because, oh, vagina, right? So, so basically, that is the situation. So I am more likely to help a guy who is broke down if he's living in his van than I am likely to help a woman in the same situation, because everybody wants to help the woman. Not very many people want to help the guy. And I just said shit like that, you know, and boom, got blocked. So I admire what that guy has done. I think his name's Bob. I admire the site that he's created. I admire the desire to help people that he obviously has, but I am not loving his lack of empathy for men and his sort of female focus or gynocentric focus, because either he blocked me, or some woman that he handed control over moderator status over to blocked me, or some feminist guy that he handed control over to blocked me. It's any of the three. They cannot tolerate a conservative attitude. So I just thought I would throw that out there, and I'm going to post this thing to register my displeasure. But I am absolutely not wanting his channel to get wrecked or anything. But you know, it wouldn't hurt anything if more people showed up on his site or his video to register their displeasure. But what I'm really impressed with is that MGTOW is growing within the mobile lifestyle. There's a lot of people who are MGTOW who are like living in their vans and stuff, and I imagine they're probably got introduced to it just like Bob did, because his wife ass launched him out of his family and he was forced to live in a freaking van, right? Then he decided then he saw that he liked it. It has advantages in cost and in lifestyle and mobility and freedom. And he liked it so much he could have long ago gotten into an apartment or something. But he chose to stay in the van because he likes it so much. And he replaced the van, and he bought a nice cargo trailer to put more of his stuff in, and it's a pretty neat, sweet situation that he's got. And the cool thing is, he speaks a lot about freedom versus comfort, right? If you want comfort, for example, this house, which is paid off, is a very comfortable place to live. I mean, it's got a really beautiful backyard, and if I maintained it a little bit better, the deck would be very nice. Nice little shelter, good roof, 3 bathrooms, plenty of bedrooms, nice, endlessly huge storage shed. I'm very comfortable here, but I'm getting rid of this place. But in any case, there was the freedom versus comfort, right? If you have a giant, or if you have a house, right, that's the least amount of freedom, because you're sitting here and you are totally vulnerable to the property taxes being raised. I just spent almost an entire paycheck on my 6-month payment for my property tax. I paid $1,600, and I pay about $3,200 every year, which is about 1% of the value. Every year they just bleed you for a certain amount of money, you got to pay, or men with guns will show up and throw you out of your house, right? So so that's the least amount of freedom. Then you got the Class A's, the giant freaking diesel pushers. If you have some of them cost as much as this house does. And you can only go to campgrounds and a few BLM places but those things are mostly designed for concrete, on-road use, low clearance, low ground clearance, so they can't really do much rough, and they're only two-wheel drive, so they just don't make it into a lot of places where you might want to go. Then you got Class B's and travel trailers, which all offer less comfort and more freedom. And then you've got like the more closer to the maximum freedom, which is like living in your car. You can go anywhere that way, or like a four-wheel, like a Jeep or something. You can go anywhere with those. But I am going to select, personally, I'm going to select a Arctic Fox 865, I think it is. And it's a very nice camper. It's very light, and my 3/4 ton truck can carry it very well. And it doesn't have any slide outs, so it's not that heavy. And it's going to be very comfortable to live in still for one guy. And on my four-wheel drive truck, I can get practically anywhere as long as the branches aren't too low. And that is what I'm planning to do. Today, right, we had a nice, good-sized drop in the stock market. And as I've been saying for several years now, I'm expecting a nasty little economic recession similar to 2008. And when that occurs, stocks and real estate are going to get pushed down, as it does about every 8 to 10 years. And then gold and silver gets pushed up, and alternatives such as Bitcoin get pushed up. And in those situations, it's a good idea not to own much in the way of stocks or real estate. And that is one of the main reasons I want to get out of this house. So the plan is I'm going to buy that camper. I've already decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a loan as long as I'm still working my job. And I'm going to get a loan and buy it on credit. And then I'm going to move into that thing and start closing down my life here in this house. And then I'm going to rent a place out in the sticks. I saw a really nice place on 5 acres for like $1,000 a month. I could split that between my dad and we'd each pay $500 a month. And then I could pretty much wave goodbye to my fellow mechanics and close out my job and turn in my early retirement paperwork and move out to the sticks and stay living in my camper. And then I will just go live my dream and do that wandering mechanic for permaculture communities, permaculture settlements, like the guys over in Montana. They call it the lab. And they're turning a piece of really shitty pine forest, rocky, nasty, shitty pine forest, into something that is going to be really beautiful and really sustainable and very productive as far as food production goes. And they have high hopes of making it very, very awesome. So I could go to places. They've already rolled out the red carpet for me. I could go to places like that and be on the message boards and look at opportunities to do things that interest me, like putting in solar electric systems, building rocket mass heaters, working on tractors and various things that I am capable of doing, pretty much pro bono. I probably wouldn't expect much more than a parking spot, maybe hookups, and read all my favorite books, explore all of the works from my favorite authors that I haven't read. And the only thing I will own is my truck and my awesome camper. Maybe maybe some of course some tools. It's me, and a fuck ton of bitcoins in the safe deposit box. And of course, whatever I get for the house, I'll store that in vaulted gold, so that I'll use. Geez, what's that? Voltero. I might use Voltero and maybe one or two other companies. I don't want it all in one place. And then I'll live the mobile lifestyle, and you can live on almost nothing when you're in the mobile lifestyle. You can boondock everywhere. You can, cook your own meals in your own vehicle, and, I'll have a fully functional bathroom and everything, and a place to kick back and read, and and I will have no worries, no yard work unless it's something I want to do there. And then I'll of course swing by the house here in Washington State and make sure my dad's okay and all that. I'll stay in daily contact with him. He's getting to be that age where you better contact him every day, or you're going to find the body about a week later. So basically that's the plan. I'm going to go mobile and live a really frugal lifestyle, and go all over the place, take selfies, work on tractors, fix cars and farm trucks, and put in solar electric systems, solar hot water heater systems, rocket mass heaters, swale systems, and watering systems for chicken coops, and just do some fun stuff that interests me. I love machines, but I also like the gardening aspect of it. The only reason I neglected this house and the gardens here so badly is because I've already mentally checked out of this place. I know I'm leaving, so it doesn't really make sense to invest a lot of energy and in building a big huge thing here because it's all going to be gone. It's all going to be sold. I'm pretty proud of this this grape trellis. Fired up the dehydrator and made a ton of raisins, and they are very tasty, although I left them in a little too long. Problem is the grapes, they tend to fall on the deck, and you gotta sweep the deck. I gotta get on that. But yeah, I imagine I could sell this place for about 320 grand. Dump it into vaulted gold, and that'll make a nice emergency fund while I'm living the mobile lifestyle. And I will learn a lot about gardening. I'll learn a lot about permaculture. I want to get my permaculture design certificate, and I basically will have a good education and a good know-how on how to do a lot of this stuff, rainwater harvesting and things like that. And then right around maybe 2 or 3 years from now, the real estate and the recession should bottom out. And then I will be in a situation where real estate will be very cheap. You'll be able to get anything you want cheap then, like cars, trucks, jet skis, snowmobiles, real estate, and stocks. That'll all be very cheap. Just like it was back in 2012 when I bought this house. And then you can basically pick up something like this for 60-70% of what it's worth right now. And then over the following 5 or 6, 7 years, you should see some very nice gains in the value of any real estate you happen to have bought. So that's the plan. I'm going to go mobile as soon as I can. I've already contacted the dealership, and I'm going to get that Arctic Fox camper. And then I'm going to start disconnecting from the house, selling pretty much everything except what I might need for the rental house. And then move, say goodbye to my fellow mechanics, and begin my life of freedom. Can't hardly wait. Okay, guys, if you want to go bitch at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous guy, I'll leave a link for the video. And don't get married.